So I'm going to make it abundantly clear. I'm not here defending Diddy. I am here because I got dragged into this because somebody asked me a question and I had an opinion. Nobody's wrong for giving an opinion about any subject, period. I'm not here defending Diddy. Don't let the narrative fool you or get to you. Once again, somebody's creating narratives. This is my point. So please look at the whole clip that I did and then look what happens with the narrative. And that's what I'm telling you. Y'all people don't be sheep. Use your brain, use your freedom of thought, freedom of speech, and don't ever let nobody bully.
The internet didn't just wake up buzzing, it woke up nervous. Because 50 Cent just dropped a claim that sent shockwaves through celebrity circles. According to him, the fallout from the *** Diddy Exposé isn't just messy, it's dangerous. And now he says he's being targeted for speaking too loudly. When someone who's built an entire career on surviving beef starts sounding cautious, people stop laughing and start listening. This didn't feel like promo talk, it felt like a warning wrapped in sarcasm. Because suddenly, the jokes weren't landing the same. The laughs felt nervous. The timelines felt quiet in a way that screams panic, not peace. Celebrities who usually post everything from breakfast plates to private jets started moving like ghosts. And that silence was louder than any tweet. When the lights go out all at once, it's usually because someone flipped a switch. .50 didn't whisper this either. He said it with that familiar grin that says, "I know something you don't," while daring anyone to challenge him. The claim hit like a leaked voicemail nobody was supposed to hear. And now everyone's asking the same thing. If he's being targeted, who else is feeling the heat? And what exactly are they afraid of? Because this isn't just rap drama anymore. This is the kind of tension that makes even the untouchables check over their shoulders. The moment 50 Cent suggested he was being targeted over the fallout from the ** Diddy Exposé, the tone of the internet shifted in real time. This wasn't one of those playful jabs or trolling captions he's famous for. This felt heavier, sharper, and far less interested in laughs. When someone who made a career out of fearless commentary starts hinting at danger, people stop scrolling casually and start reading between the lines. At first, many brushed it off as classic 50 behavior. He's always been loud, strategic, and unapologetic about stirring the pot. But this time, the message landed differently because the timing was wrong for jokes. Too many things were already swirling. Too many names had been dragged into conversations they clearly didn't want to be part of. The internet sensed it instantly, because energy like that doesn't lie. The background to this moment didn't appear overnight. For months, whispers around Diddy had grown louder, more uncomfortable, and far harder to ignore. Allegations, lawsuits, and industry rumors stacked up like bricks, forming a wall nobody wanted to stand too close to. What once sounded like distant noise suddenly felt like a storm rolling in, and 50 Cent had been standing out in the open pointing at it the entire time. When the Expo's energy intensified, 50 didn't retreat. He leaned in. He joked, commented, reposted, and added his own sharp-edged commentary that felt less like comedy and more like provocation. That's when the internet started asking a different question. Not why he was talking, but why he was willing to talk when others went silent. Silence, in moments like this, becomes suspicious. The first reactions were split, as they always are. Some fans praised him for saying what others were too scared to say. Others accused him of clout chasing, claiming this was just another attempt to stay relevant. But even those critics hesitated, because relevance doesn't usually come with warnings about being targeted. That word alone shifted the conversation from gossip to concern. Celebrities noticed before fans did. You could see it in the way posts slowed down, captions got safer, and public interactions cooled. People who normally jump into trending topics suddenly found reasons to stay quiet. That kind of collective restraint doesn't happen by accident. In an industry built on attention, silence is rarely chosen unless fear is involved. The sarcasm in 50's delivery only added to the tension. He said it with humor, but the humor felt defensive rather than playful. It was the kind of laugh people use when they're trying to stay calm in a room that suddenly feels hostile. That contrast made listeners uneasy, because it suggested he was aware of something the public wasn't. As the comments spread, the internet began revisiting old moments with new eyes. Past interviews, past feuds, and past warnings were reframed as breadcrumbs leading to this point. Things that once seemed like jokes started feeling like foreshadowing. The internet loves hindsight, especially when it can turn randomness into a pattern. What really fueled the tension was the idea of targeting itself. That word implies intention, coordination, and consequences. It suggests something active, not accidental. People started speculating about what that could mean, and speculation online never stays contained. Theories multiplied, some wilder than others, each one feeding the same sense of unease. My media pages tried to keep up, but they struggled to pin the story down. There were no official statements confirming anything concrete, just reactions to reactions. Every headline sounded urgent but vague, which only made things worse. Vague danger is scarier than clear threat, because it leaves room for imagination to run wild. Meanwhile, the public's trust and celebrity narratives wavered. People began questioning how much they actually know about the industry they consume daily. If someone as established and outspoken as 50 Cent felt the need to hint at being targeted, what does that say about everyone else staying quiet? That question lingered without an answer. The situation also exposed how quickly power dynamics shift when secrets come close to the surface. Those who once seemed untouchable suddenly looked cautious. Those who thrived on attention now avoided it. The internet noticed these behavioral changes and treated them like clues, even when they might have been coincidence. Supporters of 50 framed him as a whistleblower figure, someone daring enough to stand outside the industry code of silence. Critics framed him as reckless, poking at a situation too volatile to joke about. Both sides agreed on one thing, though. This felt different from normal rap beef. The stakes felt higher, the consequences less predictable. That as hours passed, the story didn't clarify, it deepened. Each repost added a layer of urgency without adding answers. The lack of resolution became the story itself. People weren't just reacting to what was said, they were reacting to what wasn't. Silence from other celebrities became its own headline. What made this moment especially unsettling was the absence of denial. Nobody rushed to shut it down. Nobody confidently dismissed it as nonsense. In celebrity culture, denial usually comes fast when rumors threaten brand image. The quiet response suggested uncertainty, and uncertainty feeds fear. The conversation shifted from entertainment to self-preservation. Fans speculated about who might be next, who was watching closely, and who had reasons to worry. The expo stopped being about one individual and started feeling like a spotlight sweeping across the industry. Searching for shadows. By the end of this phase, the warning had done its job. It planted doubt. It made people uncomfortable. It disrupted the usual rhythm of celebrity chatter. Whether intentional or not, 50 Cent had changed the temperature of the room. And nobody seemed eager to turn the heat back down. This wasn't the climax yet. It was the signal flare, and once a flare goes up, it usually means something bigger is coming. Once the warning settled in, the atmosphere shifted from curiosity to caution, and you could feel it without anyone spelling it out. The jokes slowed down, the captions got safer, and the internet started moving like it didn't want to trigger anything by accident. That's when people realized this wasn't just another loud celebrity moment. Panic doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers and tells everyone to sit still. The most telling sign wasn't what people said. It was what they stopped saying. Celebrities who normally thrive on engagement suddenly went quiet or stuck to harmless posts that said absolutely nothing. No opinions, no commentary, no slick jokes, just vibes and distance. In an industry addicted to attention, restraint like that raises eyebrows fast. Memes still popped up, but they felt nervous instead of playful. The humor had an edge to it, like people were laughing while checking over their shoulders. Even joke pages seemed unsure how far was too far, and that hesitation spoke volumes. When satire starts tiptoeing, something serious is in the room. The name 50 Cent kept circulating, not because he was talking more, but because everyone else wasn't. His comments echoed louder in the silence, and the internet replayed them like a warning siren. Every repost added a layer of urgency. Even when no new information surfaced, repetition turned concern into expectation. Celebrity reactions came in directly, and that made things worse. Vague captions about loyalty, safety, and protecting energy flooded time. Nobody mentioned names, but everyone understood the subtext. When people start speaking in code, it usually means they're afraid of being too clear. Then the comparisons started getting wild. Because panic loves exaggeration, people likened the situation to industry shakeups from the past. Moments where one story cracked open several others. The analogies were dramatic, but they stuck because fear amplifies memory. Suddenly, every old interview clip and past quote felt prophetic, even if it wasn't. The memes shifted from jokes to speculation boards. Screenshots were circled, arrows drawn, timelines built with confidence that far outweighed the evidence. The internet turned detective, not because it had facts, but because it had suspicion. Suspicion fills gaps quickly, and once it settles in, it's hard to evict. Public outrage mixed with curiosity in an uncomfortable way. Some people demanded answers, claiming transparency was owed to the audience. Others warned that pushing too hard could make things worse. Both sides fueled the same fire, because attention doesn't distinguish between concern and exploitation. It just counts clicks. The idea of being targeted took on a life of its own. People debated what that could even mean, stretching the term to fit their theories. Some imagined coordinated pushback, others imagined quiet pressure behind the scenes. The lack of clarity made every theory feel possible, and possibility kept the conversation alive. Media outlets struggled to keep up without crossing lines. Headlines danced around implications without confirming anything. Words like allegedly and claimed became shields, protecting publishers while still feeding the frenzy. That balancing act only added to the sense that something bigger was being carefully avoided. Meanwhile, industry insiders stayed quiet, and that silence felt intentional. No anonymous quotes, no leaks pushing back, no confident dismissals. When insiders don't rush to control a narrative, it suggests they're waiting to see where it lands. Waiting, in moments like this, feels like holding your breath. Fans started noticing patterns that might not have been patterns at all. Who unfollowed who liked which post, who didn't show up where they usually do. Every absence became a clue, every interaction a potential signal. The internet loves over-analysis, especially when it feels like something is being hidden. The situation stopped being about one expose and started feeling like a pressure test. Who would speak, who would stay quiet, and who would distance themselves entirely? These choices didn't go unnoticed, and they shaped public perception in subtle ways. Silence became alignment in the eyes of many viewers. What made this phase so volatile was the lack of release. No definitive statement, no clear resolution, just tension hanging in the air. People stayed glued not because of updates, but because of anticipation. Anticipation is powerful, and it keeps audiences invested even when nothing changes. The humor that once surrounded celebrity drama felt out of place here. The stakes felt heavier, the implications broader. People sensed that jokes could age badly if more information surfaced later. That fear alone changed how people interacted with the story. By this point, panic wasn't loud, it was coordinated. It showed up as caution, coded language, and strategic distance. Everyone seemed to be watching, everyone else waiting for the next move. In a culture that thrives on chaos, this level of restraint was unusual, and that's what made it unsettling. Because when an entire industry suddenly chooses silence, it's rarely because nothing is happening. It's usually because everyone is calculating what happens next. The internet felt it, even if it couldn't explain it. And once panic settles in like that, it doesn't disappear easily. When the panic stopped whispering and started settling in, the situation entered its most dangerous phase. Not the loud part, not the trending part, but the part where decisions get made quietly and consequences start forming without anyone announcing them. This is where scandals stop being entertainment and start becoming reality. The internet may move fast, but fear moves with patience. What stood out immediately was how the energy around 50 Cent changed without him saying anything new. He didn't need to escalate, because the silence around him did that job. The absence of jokes, rebuttals, or pushback from other major names felt intentional. In an industry that usually rushes to protect itself publicly, this level of restraint felt calculated. Public perception began to harden in subtle ways. Some people stopped laughing altogether and started treating the situation with caution. Others leaned into belief, convinced that where there's this much smoke, there has to be fire. Once people cross that mental line, they don't need proof anymore. Suspicion becomes enough to shape opinion. The impact on reputations didn't arrive with headlines, it arrived with distance. Invitations stopped. Associations became quieter. Names that were once casually linked together were no longer seen in the same spaces, even digitally. That kind of separation doesn't need explanation to be felt. The industry has its own language, and silence is one of its clearest signals. Meanwhile, the shadow of Diddy loomed over every conversation without being directly addressed. People avoided saying his name outright, which only made it louder in the room. When a figure becomes unmentionable, it's rarely because they're irrelevant. It's usually because everyone is calculating risk. Behind the scenes, relationships shifted in ways the public could only guess at. Loyalty was tested, not through statements, but through absence and alignment. Some people chose distance to protect their image. Others chose silence to protect their access. Those choices didn't go unnoticed, and fans started reading them like body language at a tense dinner table. The internet also began to reflect on its own role, even if briefly. People questioned whether pushing for answers was helping or hurting. That moment of self-awareness didn't last long, but it mattered. It showed that even audiences could feel when a line was being approached, if not already crossed. What became clear was that this wasn't just about one expose or one warning. It was about power and who controls narratives when uncomfortable truths surface. The entertainment industry runs on image, and moments like this threaten the illusion of stability it depends on. When the illusion cracks, everyone looks for cover. 50 Cent's reputation, ironically, didn't weaken in this phase. If anything, it solidified. To supporters, he looked fearless. To critics, he looked reckless. But to observers, he looked unmoved. That calm in the middle of tension made his claims feel heavier, not lighter. People trust confidence more when others are nervous. The broader public started connecting dots that may or may not belong together. Past interviews felt different. Old jokes sounded less funny. Industry moments that once passed without question were re-examined with suspicion. This is how narratives evolve after panic sets in. Everything gets recontextualized. Media coverage shifted tone as well. Outlets became more careful, choosing words slowly and avoiding bold claims. That caution spoke volumes. When media stops speculating loudly, it's usually because lawyers have entered the conversation. Fear has a way of professionalizing the room. As days passed, attention drifted, but tension didn't disappear. It just went underground. The internet moved on to the next controversy, but the people involved didn't get that luxury. This is the part audiences forget. Virality is temporary, but consequences linger quietly, reshaping careers and relationships without warning. The biggest takeaway wasn't confirmation or denial. It was the reaction itself. Panic, silence, coded language, and strategic distance told a story louder than any expose ever could. When powerful people stop performing confidence, it suggests something has shifted behind the curtain. What happens next is the part nobody can predict. Another claim, another leak, another voice deciding they've had enough of staying quiet could change everything overnight. That uncertainty is what makes moments like this dangerous. They don't end cleanly, they wait. And if there's one thing history has shown, it's that industries don't implode from noise. They crack from pressure that builds in silence. This wasn't the finale. It was the pause before the next move. And whatever comes next, one thing is certain. Once fear enters the room, it never leaves quietly. Now before you click away and pretend this was just another loud internet moment, let's be honest for a second. If this story made you uneasy, that's because it was supposed to. When powerful people stop joking, start moving quietly, and let silence do the talking, something real is happening behind the scenes. This wasn't just about one claim or it was about how fast confidence turns into caution when the pressure gets too close. So let's actually talk about it in the comments. Because silence is how uncomfortable truths get buried. Drop your take below, and don't sugarcoat it. Do you think 50 is sounding the alarm for a reason? Or is this another case of the internet reading too deep into the smoke? Say what everyone's thinking, but nobody wants to type. Because real conversations only happen when people stop playing safe. And if this breakdown had you locked in, smash that like button, like it owes you money, and just blocked your number. Hit it the way the internet hits a story the moment it smells panic. That one click tells the algorithm you want more deep dives, more context, and less recycled noise dressed up as news. Likes keep this kind of content alive, whether people admit it or not. If you're not subscribed yet, don't hover like someone who saw everything but stayed quiet.